All right, everyone, welcome back to our monthly money and manifestation show where bold, sassy, and no BS wealth and vision experience. As always, I am Lindsay and we have the lovely Lisa, and we are here together for another month because we're talking all about wealth, vision, visionaries. And this episode is just meeting Lindsay and Lisa because, we're not your average coaches. We are kind of like your wake up call. We want to introduce you behind all the truth bombs that we talk about, the AI image, visualization, the coaching, the financial clarity, all of the things that come together that make us who we are. And so, we are going to follow the same kind of template that we do, which is our wealth truth bomb, wealth lies, AI wealth glow up, and then fix my finances. But before we get into that, we want to just take a quick minute to introduce ourselves because for those of you who might be new, they might not know who we are. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Lindsay said, we're badasses, right? I am Lisa Marie. I am known as the Sassy Wealth Queen, and just I guess a little bit about me as far as how I got here. I'm known as Sassy Wealth Queen because one, I'm in the South and I'm very sassy. And Wealth Queen, I had a journey of going from food stamps to six figures and barely being able to make ends meet and changing my relationship with money and how I managed it, how I saw it, how I talked about it. And now I'm on a mission to help as many entrepreneurs, especially women, as possible to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and be able to create wealth because you don't have to come from it. And one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we're both tired of all the taboo. And it's also why I have my own podcast, Cash and Sass. And it's the reason why I do what I do. So I work with entrepreneurs to help them manage their money. So I'm a fractional CFO and a wealth mentor. So I help them build a system that shows them where their money is and how it's working for them and how to change it so they're not on what I call the never ending merry-go-round of chaos, right? With financial chaos. And yeah. Personal, I'm a mom of two kids. One is special needs, autistic, and they're my why. And I love summer and don't like winter.
It's all you need to know about
That
that.
is all you need to know.
I
Warm
love
weather.
it. I love it. Well, and we're going to get into a lot more conversations about wealth and
Mhm.
sassy parts of wealth and all of that stuff because that really is a big part of what this show is all about. But on my end, so I'm Lindsay Hack. I'm actually Canadian and I live in Mexico with my two teenage daughters and husband and three dogs. So that's kind of who I am. And I, like Lisa, absolutely despise winter coming from Canada. So I just got rid of it. I don't think I could winter anymore. 8 years here, I'm not sure I could do winter. So her and I are aligned on that. Even sometimes where she lives, it's a little too cold for me. So it's
Well, it's too cold
definitely
for me.
it's definitely we are a summer team here. We are a summer team. In terms of what I do, I work with coaches, business coaches, mindset coaches, life coaches to help their clients with visualization. I've been doing vision board workshops for 15 years. I'm a life and health coach. And what I found myself personally was I really struggled with visualization. I've had coaches and programs. I've sat in with the monks in India, and I just couldn't visualize. And I thought I was broken. And so a few years ago, I just kind of smiled and nodded when people talked about visualization. I was like, yeah, this makes sense. And then last year, I started playing with AI images, as you do, always be learning. And could not be more excited about bringing them into my vision board that year as well, and had to tell the world. So for me, it's all about bringing that future self here now. So it's AI with identity so we can coach from our future, not from our past. And so we come together really with, I am very much a no BS kind of person. I come from a place of love, but I always am going to tell you the truth. So together we are really trying to break the taboo of money and wealth, break the idea of living like you want to be living versus the way you have to, quote unquote, think we have to. And I think that's the beauty of what we're doing here is we are really bringing everything together. So not only can we get clear on our money and on our wealth, but we can also get clear on our future self and live her right now. And so that is a beautiful kind of combination of what we do together. And so each month, we bring together a topic and a bunch of information. And this week we're talking about our wealth truth bomb, which I think, honestly, I've been there. Lisa's been there. I feel like we've all really been there before. And if you said you haven't, I'd like to, give you a salute and a shake your hand and then probably call you BS because I feel like it's one of those things that even in the best of times, we've all had those moments, right? Those moments of, oh shit, where's that money coming from? How am I going to pay that bill? I used to always say, Lisa and I met almost 9 years ago now, which is insane. And when I first brought my business online, I was like an ostrich. I stuck my head in the sand and just hoped that everything would go away. And that included my money. So, how was I paying myself? I wasn't. How was my business making money? It was. So, that was a bit of a disconnect. So it was really interesting kind of move for me to learn what Lisa does and kind of move my way through it. So, for us, that truth wealth bomb is what we really want to bring to the table to say to people like this is not true and we know it's not true. So let's stop pretending like it is. And I think for Lisa, I know she has so many wealth truth bombs. And then for me, with my vision boards and AI images, I have definite truth bombs as well. So I'm just going to really start with the wealth truth bomb on my end, which is the AI images. So oftentimes I'm told that vision boards don't work. Okay. And this is one of the things they say to me. Oh, I tried that and it didn't work. And it's really interesting because, vision boards aren't magic, whether they're regular old traditional style or AI image ones, they're not magic. They don't change your life without you making some changes, right? And that emotional anchoring that we do, that identity shift that we do when we see ourselves in our vision board or in our AI images, that's how we change. We still have to do some work, right? It's not a magic wand. If it was, that would be amazing. I would be a trazillionaire by now, but it's not. So, Lisa, let's hear one of the truth bombs that you are going to kind of debunk today, because we know when it comes to wealth, there are so many.
Oh, right. There's a lot also with the visioning all too, right? And manifesting. And mine is so often people say, they're not the reason they don't look at their numbers is because they're manifesting. And as far as I'm concerned, wealth truth bomb, if you won't look at your money, you're not manifesting, you're avoiding. You're basically like wishing for whatever. Um, and here's why, because y'all, point blank, if we could sit and close our eyes and say, manifesting 10 grand in my bank account right now, and then do absolutely nothing, I wouldn't have a job.
I know, but wouldn't it be amazing?
And we would all be rich, okay? Come on. I mean, we'd all be wealthy. Like, seriously. I mean, why stop at 10 grand, right? Now, am I saying manifestation doesn't work? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's one of the things me and Lindsay both agree with. It's called active manifestation. It's visualizing it, you there now, right? And doing what needs to be done to get you there. And one of the things that my coach will tell me is, Lisa, how would 7, 8, 9 figure fractional CFO or you act? How would they talk to people? How would they be in the DMs? And I would say, and he goes, okay, we'll go then be that. Well, I can also tell you that they have people helping them, supporting them, and making sure they know what the hell's going on with their money, because otherwise they're not getting to the 8, 9 figures. You have to know what's going on with your money. And so by you avoiding looking at it, you're not manifesting. You're basically on a prayer and you're hoping it all works out. Or like what Lindsay says, you're an ostrich with your head stuck in the sand. And that's not going to get you, yes, your business will make money And will you make a profit? And will you be paying yourself? And the answer is no. You're going to end up on this never ending merry-go-round of chaos. I've seen it too many times. I've come across people who want projections, 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 yet they're not paying attention to how they're doing things now and changing those things now. And yes, projections are important, and paying attention to these things are important as well. And sometimes those things have to shift, how you're budgeting, how you're managing the money, as well as those projections.
Yeah, and it's so important too. I always say it's a little bit of woo and a little bit of do when we bring it together, right? It's not one or the other. I believe 100% in manifestation and in visualization, but you still have to do some work. And I can tell you from my experience putting my head in the sand like an ostrich, that didn't help. If anything, it made things worse because I was like, right? So it does not actually help. So we have to have the woo, which is again also science. In case anybody's really wondering, neuroscience is not just wooey, it's neuroscience. But you have to have the do. You have to do the action to get it done as well, and bring those together, and it's a beautiful thing. All right.
Right.
So our wealth lies this week is this idea of you'll feel rich before you become rich. And I have to ask this question because I find for me, this stumbles sometimes because this is what I often think about that. Right. So, future me who's making, eight figures, doing whatever she's doing, living the life she wants to live, is spending money however she wants to. Okay. That's future me. Now bring that to today me. I can't go out and spend that kind of money doing those things. So the idea of feeling rich, even though I'm not yet rich, is where sometimes that struggle bus comes on. And so I think it's really interesting to make sure that we understand that, for me, living in the south of France or being, on a beach in Spain, doesn't mean that today I have to move there. It means that I can go and sit at a cafe and do my future wealth day at that cafe, enjoying a croissant, if that's what makes me feel like that person. And I think that's the big piece where the wealth lies come into play. And I think, Lisa, give us kind of a breakdown and an example. If somebody said to you, Lisa, I want to be XYZ, I want to be rich, I want to do these things, but at this moment, I don't even have an extra dollar to buy myself a coffee. How can I be that person, but also be this person?
Well, one of the things I'm going to tell you is that, first of all, how are you managing your money? Because being that person is going to look at all their expenses, right? They're going to look at expenses and see if there's anything that's no longer serving their business and does it need to be cut. And, it kind of goes along with the lines also of people saying, oh, I'm going to wait, right, to do the things until I am rich. Like, and I'm not going to worry about budgeting until I actually have the money. Okay. One, if you can't budget the money you got now, and I don't mean cut yourself to where you're not getting lattes or whatever it is you want to get. And if you're spending $150 a week in lattes, but you want to know why you don't have money to do something, go and check in with yourself and your nervous system and say, do I really need to be spending $150 on lattes? I'm going to tell you, no, you don't. There should be another way. I'm not saying cut it out completely. Maybe cut it back. And it's those things of choosing what's really important. I have separate accounts. So can I live like I'm a 7 and 8 figure earner yet? No. And I still have my days to where I write what my future self is doing. I make sure I'm having conversations like my future self would. I'm also looking at my money going, okay, would my future self just go spend this without making sure it's going to, in some way, move my business or provide an ROI? Or would they put it in, these bank accounts like I have? Well, I know me. My future self would be making sure the money is going where it needs to go. So I'm doing it now just as well as in the future so that I'm already there. The second thing that I realized I had to do is waiting doesn't do any good if every single time you say you're going to be a 7 figure or 8 figure earner and you're going to be able to do this if you flinch.
Mm.
So if your nervous system cringes, then you can't manifest going ahead without doing something about this system. Because let me tell you, firsthand, firsthand knowledge, I done all the managing. Okay, I was ready. Money come in, nervous system. I thought I'd done the work with the nervous system. Apparently, I had not. I'd done it to a certain point. I had not done it above a certain point. And what happened is I ended up sabotaging it because the nervous system was like, "Oh shit, I what am I supposed to do now?" It wasn't there to to hold it because it's like this is unfamiliar. What if it all disappears? Who am I to have this? All
Mm.
of those things come up. And then, oh, if it's going to disappear, then I just need to make it disappear now. And instead of us doing our future selves, we're somehow manifesting. And I don't like the word manifesting for this part, but I'm just going to say we're manifesting what's always happened before.
Right.
Because I believe what we focus on, we create more of. And it took me a little while to realize, well, Lisa, you're focusing on all the shit that happened before with money. So therefore, you expect it to happen. You're waiting for it to happen. So
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
focusing on it,
Yeah. It
that's what's going
happens.
to happen. Right. So you have to be able to, what I call is wealth is built by leading your nervous system, not following it. So that means regulating through discomfort, normalizing abundance through action, recognize the words through action, and making those decisions from strategy, not survival. And y'all, I'm a fractional CFO and a wealth mentor. And guess what? 2024 was a difficult year. I had to constantly remind myself, complete work in progress, to make decisions from strategy, not survival. Uh, Lindsay, I'm sure is you've had to make decisions that way too. That it's not going to change. You always going to have to remind yourself. But that's the key because when our nervous system is there, the wealth is going to come. But we have to make sure that we're regulating ourselves through it.
Yeah. And it's such an interesting one because, oftentimes nervous system is totally overlooked. But when you think about how important it is when it comes to that moment, that moment that, I always say we celebrate every cent of money that comes in. Well, we're in Mexico, so pesos, whatever, every cent of money that comes into this house, because that's a big part of the future self now. But if you haven't regulated your nervous system, the moment the money comes in, if automatically you're thinking, what about that bill? What about that? Oh, I'm never going to have that. Oh, should I have that? All of a sudden, that celebration turns into something very different than, an actual celebration because your nervous system is just like through the roof. So it is such a big part of what we do. It's just we tend to overlook it a lot. So the lie here today that we are again debunking is that, just because you want to feel a certain way, maybe you want to feel rich and not be rich yet, but you're still working on it, you have to put the work in. That's the first thing. We'll say that over and over and over again. And you do
Mm-hmm.
have to look at your nervous system because if your nervous system is deregulated, it's all over the place, it is going to cause more problems, more harm than good. And I think it's
Yeah,
super
and I
important to
mean,
know that.
and the bottom line is you don't wait till you feel ready. You build the readiness by acting in alignment with your next level. And again, keywords in alignment, right? So even when it scares the hell out of you, trust me, there's been some stuff that scared the hell out of me. Okay. That's when you work with your nervous system on that, reminding your nervous system this is safe, right? That it's not bad, it's actually better than the previous. And this is where you want to go. Then you're rewiring your nervous system. And again, it's action though. They're vision boards. I mean, my vision board reminds me every single day because I have an AI vision board that of my goals of what I'm going for and reminds me of the action I need to take. If I don't work out every day, the AI picture of me having my triceps being firm and defined, I guess that's the having that definition isn't going to happen. Lord knows I wish it would, but it won't. Because if it did, they would already be there. And so it's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with your business. It's the same thing with wealth building, right? Um, I love the concept of the AI vision board and how it goes in with that because that's part of the action. It's saying it's reminding you to keep taking that action. instead of us self-sabotaging ourselves, because that's what most of us entrepreneurs end up doing, even if we don't realize it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's actually a perfect segue into our next side, which is the AI wealth glow up. And so, the thing that we have seen, and I have seen a lot of. I mean, Lisa has a AI vision board. I have one as well, multiple. But I've been working with a lot of different types of coaches, whether it's a business coach or a visualization coach. And what I am seeing is when you believe your future self and you start living that person now, you're able to do things that you never thought possible, right? So Lisa, the good example was there's an image on there which I made, and I know exactly what it is. It's got her triceps popping out. If she doesn't continue with her workouts and go and do the things and eat the way that she should be when she wants to have these goals, then that's not going to change. Like I said, wouldn't we love it when we love to manifest a 10,000 into our bank account, when we love to have the body of our dreams without doing any work? That's not how it is. That's not the way we do it. But what we can do is give ourselves that belief in it, right? So when it comes to having that belief, I have seen coaches make more money, sign more clients, help clients in different ways, have money coming in different ways, not necessarily the way they thought it was going to come in, and it comes in. But I have a client who has been thinking about writing her book forever. And she was always in her head about, nobody wants to know what I'm writing. Who cares? What do they like? Who am I to write a book? And I did a vision, an image of her of, reading her book at her book talk in a bookstore. And every time she sat down at her desk, all she had to do was open up her book and write a few sentences. Well, I'm happy to say she's on chapter 4 now, maybe even 5. I haven't checked in with her for a few weeks. And it's the action that we take as our future self now. Right. And that's the big thing. It's the action that we take. Remember, it's not the, oh, it's going to happen magic. It's the action that we take to become that person. And I think that's such a big part. And that's one example of many, many examples that I have.
mean,
but
the other example would be me standing on stage speaking. That's on my AI vision board too. And I'm taking, yes, I want, there's actually 2 images on it. Do I want that to happen? And it wouldn't happen if I wasn't taking the action steps of being a guest on other people's podcasts and putting myself out there to be and speak at people's different people's workshops, right? And saying, hey, I'll speak at your workshop. Hey, would this benefit you and your clients if I was a guest in your, all those things? That's part of speaking. And the more you do that, the more more I do that, or the more you do it, if that's what you're wanting, the more it puts you out there. Again, I want to speak. And then all of a sudden I'd be offered several $1,000s to speak. That is not how this works. If it did, a lot of us would already be on stages.
Lovely. As I said, it's woo and do, and you bring it together. And that is it. All right. Well, which brings us to our Fix My Finances. So this is a question that we get from our audience that we want. Sometimes it's they may be embarrassed to ask it in real life to people. Sometimes it's more than one person comes in with the same question. And this again comes very much a part of our wealth, concept, our visualization concept. So Lisa, today's question is: I'm afraid to raise my rates because I'm not sure I'd pay that myself. That's a big one. And I've heard it multiple times. So, what's the first thing that you might say to somebody who has this as a kind of a belief in their head?
Well, first of all, if you don't believe you would pay it yourself, 9 and 10 times you're going to attract a whole buttload of people who won't pay it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And
the end.
Really, honestly, there's nothing else to say to that part, other than I know for a fact it's true because, at one time I raised, I have a group program. And when I was first looking at what I would charge, I was like, oh, I'd said thing. No one signed up, and I'm being God honest, nobody signed up. Well, because one of the reasons why no one signed up is I wasn't sure of the pricing point myself. And I didn't realize it until later. And so I needed to go back and say, okay, why am I not sure of the pricing point?
Mm-hmm.
And is the pricing point giving value? Is it worth it? All those questions, and so I went back and I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, I don't think this much I don't think charging this much is not enough. Okay, well, if I think that's not enough, then what work do I need to do? Again, nervous system, myself, to where I believe in the program enough that I would pay for it. One that I've had several mentors tell me how you know the program will sell. One of the first ways is you have to have a deep belief in it. If you believe in it wholeheartedly, and that if you were that person, you would pay to invest in it, then the pricing point's right. Now, what you do if it doesn't sell is you tweak. Maybe it's the title, maybe it's the messaging. Again, those things will have to be tweaked. But the first part is you have to believe in it. If you wouldn't pay it, you're not going to attract people who would.
Yeah. And no, and it's such a powerful statement because, I know we've had this question a few times. And if you don't believe in your own program and you don't believe in what you're selling, then you really do have to ask yourself some more questions than that. And again, remember, this always comes from a place of love. But if you don't believe and you wouldn't pay for it, I would probably ask myself, are you in the right spot? Because honestly, if you're not 150, like when I talk about what I do, I am like, I fire hose you because I'm so excited. I talk 1,000 miles an hour. I'm super pumped. I get excited about it. That's because I believe in every ounce of my being that it's not only going to work, it's going to change people's lives. And I want to tell the world. Right. So for me, it is that makes it such a powerful thing. And I price point my programs, in different ways, but it's because I believe in it. And so that would be definitely my first question is ask yourself, if you don't believe in it, what are you doing here? And I think that's a hard question to ask, but it's got to be true because as Lisa said, if you don't believe, even deep down, maybe even subconsciously where you're like, would I ever pay that time? You're just not going to attract the people who do. Where if you are like, yep, I love it, this is what's happening, this is how much I charge for it, you don't even blink an eye, then you are going to attract people that are like, yes, your passion is contagious. I want this. It's exciting. And then you're going to have people being like, you should be charging more for this. Right. And that's kind of how we build. And that is a big piece. So even though it may sound harsh, which again, we've kind of said that's what this is all about, is that if you don't truly think that it's worth it, then I would definitely do some work on why and are you in the right place?
Yeah, and the other thing is if the reason, if you love it but you're not sure of the pricing point, is do you feel like the pricing point's too low, or you're not sure you're going to make money, or you feel like you've priced it too high? One of the things I would tell you is to make sure that you're looking at all of the areas that go into it to check your pricing point. Because, I love what I do. I talk about money all day long. I absolutely love what I do. I want you to make it. I managing the money. My passion and my what I call my fun is being able to go into people's accounts and have them create these accounts and move money so that they can see their, how everything's growing. Like I just light up over that. And when I built that program, I loved the program, but something was off. So was it the pricing point, or was the something about the program? One of the first programs I ever created, it was completely off. And the reason why it was completely off is because it wasn't at the level I felt like it needed to be, which is the reason why it wasn't as successful, right? I had people who paid, but maybe didn't pay all the way, and it ran one time, and the second time it ran. There's these different things. And then, I'm like, okay, well, how do I price this and make it to where I feel really good about it? It's a no brainer, so other people will. And that's when you have to make sure you're taking the time to look at how much time you're spending, because what we forget, we'll look at like softwares and all those things of the cost, but we won't check our time to make sure that there's an ROI, right? That you're getting a profit, and that it's worth it. Because then if you feel like it's not worth it, guess what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Not going to sell,
Not
because
gonna
you're like,
happen.
I'm doing all this work and I'm not making any money. Well, what you focus on, you put out, and that's what you'd be focusing on. And again, it's it's not something you fix overnight. It's a constant thing, but it's, honest to goodness, it's something you have to make sure you pay attention to for building
Yeah.
that wealth and being able to manifest the things that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we're going to wrap up there because I think what we want to get through is that every month we're going to have like bold, we're going to have strategic, we're going to have honest, we're going to have brutal sometimes, but that's okay because remember, we do it from a place of love. We want to really include these truth bombs. We want to debunk some of these myths. And we really want to give you some practical breakdowns, what Lisa just did in terms of, from a financial perspective. And then, of course, real life stories, which we have plenty of them, not just from ourselves, but from our clients and stuff like that. So,
That's
so
right.
really this show is built on, how to challenge our mind, right? How to really rewire our vision and how to clean up our money energy, which we have touched on a little bit today. And each day, each week, each month, whatever we do this, we're going to be going
We could
through.
decide to do it more often than once a month, but right now it's once a month.
Yeah, once a month, but we would love love for you to subscribe to kind of get your daily your monthly dose of what the fuck am I doing with my life and business, which is basically what we're bringing out to you because we want your future self to be here right now, to live the life it wants, and financially and wealthily as best that they can be, that person. And honestly, it becomes part of your everyday, right? Lisa looks at her vision board every single day. I look at my vision board every single day, and it becomes part of who we are. And it not only gets my ass out of this chair to go to the gym to do my workout, but it also gets you thinking about your money and thinking about your, future self. What is it doing? What's going on? So, really, when it comes down to it, the biggest thing to keep in mind when it comes to these monthly sessions is one, if you have a question, we do one every single month. If you have one and you're maybe embarrassed to ask it, throw it in the comments, send a question. You can anonymously send it. It doesn't matter. We'll try to answer it. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, if there's somebody in the world who desperately needs to hear a little bit of this truth
Share
bomb,
it.
share it. We would love for you
Share
to
it.
share it. This is only episode 2 for us. We got plenty more to come, but we are excited to share this along with you all the way through. So, yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Guys, if you have any questions, of course, reach out, let us know. Otherwise, we will be back next month with a whole new topic of tough love and sass. So until then, we shall see you later.
Bye.
Bye.